Yeah, so far, I mean, we all kind of mix it up. So I got a little left, I got a little right. Still unsure what's going to happen. It's more so a question for the head guy.
Thank you.
Adam?
Jesse, the team announced yesterday that Ryan's going to be the starter for Sunday, and Flo explained it today that he gives the team the chance to win and doesn't think Tua's quite ready to be the starter yet. What have you seen out of Tua, I guess, in the last month and a half? And what are your thoughts on the team sticking with Fitz?
Yeah, Tua, he's a superstar athlete. Everybody's seen all his highlights and all his stuff. That's what he brings to the table. Obviously, we haven't seen him in game. We haven't really repped with him that much because Ryan's been getting all the reps. But, I'm just there to do my job, and they're there to do theirs. And the coach is going to put us in the best position to win. And if he feels like that's Ryan, then that's who we're protecting for.
Travis?
Hey, Jesse, wanted to ask you about your teammate Eric Flowers at the left guard position. I've heard a lot of stuff about how quiet of a leader he is. We had both Chan Gailey and Steve Marshall talk about that. Just wanted to get your take on how a player can be a leader but be a quiet leader.
Yeah, Eric kind of stays in his lane and, goes to work every day, and he leads by example. He's always on time. He's always there to, help if somebody asks him for help. But, some guys are different. I'm the same way. I don't really sit there and try to, rah-rah everybody around me. But, if something needs to be said, then we'll say it. But Eric's done a good job.
Joe?
Jess, I wanted to ask you about Matt Breida. A couple of exciting plays in the last game. What did you think about what he did and what he's capable of?
Yeah.
20! 20 hot! Hit! Hot!
Is that Karras?
Thanks, Fitz.
Yeah,
Matt Breida. I mean, he's a flashy guy, and we've been trying to get him incorporated in the run game. And when he's out in open space, he can make guys miss. And, hopefully we can get him going again and try to get him going. But, sometimes I'm out there. I don't know who's in, who's out. I'm just trying to do my job.
Omar?
Unmute. Jesse, I know you're experienced enough to play just about every position on our line, but what would the transition be like going to left?
It's just, trusting myself, trusting my techniques, making sure my hand placement's good, and just like my footwork and, all of that everybody really goes through at the O-line position. But, it just takes me a couple of days to get it back, and then hopefully it'll be ready to go if I go out there.
Cam?
Hey, Jesse, I think I remember talking to you about this maybe last year, and you kind of compared it to wiping your butt with a different hand. To the other side. Oh, it's Josh Sidden said that. Yeah. So I guess my question is, when you have that difference of doing that, does it make sense, I guess, as a line to switch maybe one spot versus multiple spots because of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all, once you do something so many times in one way, you do it the other way, it doesn't feel natural or smooth, but doesn't mean you can't do it or can't do it at a high level. And it's just reps, how many reps you can get it down, and trusting yourself doing it.
All right, we'll take two more. Joe?
Jess, even though this Bosa is out, I was looking at film of 91 Armstead, and he looks pretty good. He looks like he lines up over the right tackle a bunch. What have you noticed about his strengths?
He's a long guy. Got long movements, long arms. Looks like a strong player. Something we have. I mean, I've seen before, but I've never went against the guy. The whole front looks pretty solid. I know they got Deion Jordan there. I think he was here in 16 when I was here, if I remember right. But yeah, I mean, it's just how well we can do a job versus them in the run game, and then try to open up the passing lane as well. But should be a fun challenge.
Travis?
Hey, Jesse, on the topic of challenges, and I'm going to butcher his name. I never could get it right. But Coach Chris Kusarek, the former defensive line coach here, is now in San Francisco. And I recall him playing or, instituting a one gap, hair on fire, get upfield type of scheme. How does that, how do you combat that? What are some of the challenges that presents for an offensive lineman?
Yeah, Coach Chris Kusarek. Yeah, he's a fiery guy, man. I remember him and hooting and hollering and everything. Great guy, great coach. Yeah, that's what we're going to expect. We're going to expect, this D-line front to have a lot of energy, a lot of, passion for the game. And, it's up to us really to, make sure that we do our job right, keep Fitz clean, and keep our running backs moving forward. And, I think we have a good chance of beating these guys.
Yeah, I mean, this has been my career. So I guess if anybody is used to being in this situation, it would be me. But I just, I focus on the everyday, and that's it. Like I really do. And I put everything I can into each game, and you try to forget the last game if it's a good one or a bad one and work on the next one. So I get it. And obviously, I've been in a lot of different cities and a lot of different scenarios, and this scenario has been one in a lot of different places for me, but I just, try to be very myopic and go about my business that way.
Joe?
Fitz, you'll be pleased to know that you still have at least 50% of the vote, according to a recent Palm Beach Post Twitter poll. So all the momentum has not moved away from Fitz.
That's huge. Well, I had all my kids vote in that poll. So.
My actual question is about leash. You've said before that, especially within a game, you feel like you have a little bit of a longer leash with Chan Gailey by your side. I'm wondering, in terms of organizationally and where you are right now, how long do you feel your leash is in terms of your hold on the position?
Again, it's not really something that I can really afford to think about. I got so much other stuff going on throughout the week and during a game. So for me, I just go out and try to play the best that I can in each game, and that's where I put my focus. But if you start thinking about that stuff and allowing that to affect, the way you're playing, whether you want to be more risky or more careful, that's just not really who I am. I'm going to go out there, prepare, and then play the game the way I play it. And so that's something I think can be a mistake as a quarterback, is to look at that and to start playing, with not your full focus out and trying to beat the other team, but having your focus on other things. I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Cam?
Hey, Fitz, obviously, like you said, your main focus is to focus on the game and not what everybody else is saying. But it seems like in this society, it's hard to block everything out. I'm curious how that is like in the room with you guys. Do you guys joke about it? Do you guys talk about the fact that there's so much to a talk, even though you're the guy right now?
I really do think, you guys obviously are writing about it and see it and talk about it a lot more than we do. We're pretty insulated in terms of, today we came in and we've got a million different things that we're trying to put in and talk about. And so when you do that and your primary focus becomes the game plan, it's easier to kind of put some of that stuff off. But yeah, I think it has to be the room has to be open and honest, and there's all kinds of stuff from the outside world, whether it's a good game or a bad game, that it's said and talked about. And as quarterbacks, we're kind of the only ones, whether it's on this team or in the world, that really understand what we go through. And so sometimes you end up leaning on guys that are in your room because they've been through similar things, and it's hard to find somebody in a different walk of life that has had the same situations or pressures come up. So we lean on each other a lot in that room for a lot of different reasons.
Adam, you frozen?
Adam got it. He got out.
All right, we'll go to Alan.
Hey, Ryan. I'm wondering what your reaction was to the latest COVID-related developments involving the games that were rescheduled this past weekend, and then Stephon Gilmore testing positive, and where your level of confidence is that the 2020 season is going to be able to be completed.
I mean, I think everybody's very interested in the next few days to see what happens with some of those tests in New England and the tests in Kansas City. But I think, as we've seen with the Tennessee example, I think they had 2 more tests. Is that correct? 2 more tests positive, and they haven't been together at all. So in terms of the things that we're learning about the incubation periods and, being able to test negative, but potentially coming into a building and being able to shed the virus, it's just, we knew going in there, the protocols were going to change, and that this was going to be a ongoing process of trying to figure out the best way to keep us safe. But I'll just reiterate what I said earlier, which is our staff and this organization is doing a great job with us. And that's not to say that COVID's not going to enter the building. We just, we have to do everything we can to mitigate the risk of passing it on and having an outbreak. But I don't know that it's anybody's fault. I just think, it's the craziness of this virus. And, I think everybody's confidence level is probably a little less than it was a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, everybody was riding high, but it's amazing to see what happened in Tennessee so quickly.
Joe?
Fitz, I thought that Matt Breida did a couple of good things in the last game, especially in the receiving game. What do you think he can do, in the last 12 games of the season? What is he capable of?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, he was very explosive. Some of those little checkdowns and things he did with the ball. So, I think that was great to see a guy that if you give him some space, he's going to be able to make some plays. And, as we go here, we're just going to continue to find our playmakers, and our playmakers are going to continue to have the ball find them. So that was a good, good step in the right direction for him in terms of taking advantage of some of the opportunities that he got. And I'm sure more will come, as he continues to make plays like that.
Adam?
Sorry about that last time. I need to throw this computer in the ocean. It's just terrible. But the question I have for you is this. Last year, Fitz, you went through a similar situation with Josh, and we could tell when the change was made, you were not happy about it, that for whatever reason, and we have our suspicions why, that you were not happy with the change. If that change comes in 2020 at some point, how would you react, do you think?
I don't want to do the hypothetical thing. I think last year was last year, and that was definitely a much different situation and who was in the room and who's in the room this year. But I'll just stick with my line, which is I'm going to do my best, for this week, and hopefully continue to lead this team. And, whenever that day comes, and we'll cross that bridge.
Travis?
Hey, Fitz, 2 questions ago, you made a comment there about the ball will find your playmakers. And Chan Gailey has talked about how there are plenty of mouths to feed in this offense. I'm curious, is that something that you're conscious of when you go into a play and break the huddle? Are you thinking about, okay, I need to get so-and-so involved? Or is it 100% of the time like read-based and not worrying about which jersey number you're throwing the football to?
No, I mean, sometimes when it's man coverage across the board, and you've got 5 one-on-ones, then sometimes, you're forced to make those decisions. Okay, where's my best matchup? And, sometimes it's dictated by who is covering our guy. And a lot of time it's dictated by the particular route that we have our guys on, and if we like them or not, if they've shown in the past that they can win on that route. So, sometimes it is when it's a bigger zone game, then it is kind of going through your reads and guys being in the right spots and maybe making some run after the catch. But, I think the confidence that I have in our group is high. And, there are guys like Preston that, he hasn't started off this year the same numbers wise as he did last year. And some of that is definitely, on me and looking to get him, more involved. Devontae is always going to be a guy we're going to try to get the ball. Jakeem's shown some really nice things for us. As you mentioned, Matt Gesicki had a great game, and a guy I need to continue to get the ball to. So it's a good problem that we have. You know, we've got guys that aren't getting enough touches. That means we have a lot of playmakers, and we'll, you know, I'll continue to try to do my best to spread it around.
All right, we'll take one more. Hal.
Hi, Fitz. A few minutes ago, when you were talking about how you are sort of insulated in the quarterback room, and it sounded like there's a good deal of support for one another. And I feel kind of odd asking you this, but you're the veteran and Tua's the rookie. Has there been a moment this week when maybe Tua is kind of lifting up your spirits, or has it been sort of a normal week between the two of you?
It's been, I mean, the week is young, but it's just been a normal week. I mean, he's just a very positive guy in general, you know, a guy that it doesn't seem like he's ever had a bad day. So I just think it's important, especially in the NFL, every week is so extreme, whether you won and you're on your way to the Super Bowl, you lost and the sky is falling and everybody needs to be fired and benched. It's just staying level and, you know, keeping that good vibe, those good feelings. Sometimes when you lose, it is tough to do, but it's an important thing to have in the building. And I would just say with him, that's kind of his personality. You know, every day he kind of comes in and has a smile on his face. So in times like this where you've lost a few and, you know, the outside world thinks the sky is falling, it's nice to have those guys walking through the locker room upbeat and, you know, with a smile on their face.
I mean, for me, all the rules are pretty simple and understandable. Yeah, it's just, for me, the hardest thing is just remembering all of them. Even just walking out, I forgot my mask. I'm just thinking, go to the interview and knock it out. But yeah, for me, all the rules are simple and they pretty much just try to help us be safe. And for me, it's just hard to remember all of them.
Omar.
Jerome, wanted to ask you about the blitzing, big dog. You had so much success with it in week, well, not so much. You had a sack in week 1. Do you feel like that's an underutilized aspect of your game, or you're more needed in coverage?
It's pretty much a weekly thing for us. It changes. You know, for me, it's pretty much whatever they ask me, I just try to do it the right way and the best way I can. Just lately, it just hasn't, you know, been dialed up. But, you know, the cool thing about our defense, that can change. And you cannot be on the blitz right now. They do an adjustment, a motion, and next thing you know, I'm in it. So I'm not really worried about my numbers being called, just, you know, being ready when it is and, you know, just do it, really.
Cam.
Hey, Jerome, I'm curious. Obviously, you guys probably have seen everybody speculating about Tua and when he's going to be the guy or whenever. And obviously, y'all try to keep everything, the main thing, inside the locker room. But what's that talk like in the locker room, just about everybody's speculation on who the guy is and back and forth? Do y'all talk about that?
Nah, we don't really – that don't just come up or anything like that. We kind of one thing I always tell, you know, Tua, he actually comes around and asks the defensive guys how he can get better. For me, it's just, you know, just try it. Whatever you think you can make that window, try it. It's going to help you. It's going to help us. You know, just do whatever you can to get better. You know, in practice, that's your time to really practice, really just trying to do things that you normally wouldn't do. But, yeah, he's a smart guy. He's a competitor. Even, you know, his first few weeks, he was coming into the defensive rooms and asking us you know, how to see this, how to do that. So whenever his time comes, I'm sure he'd be ready.
Travis.
Hey, Jerome, you briefly mentioned the motion of the 49ers offense, and that's something they actually lead the NFL in pretty much every year under Kyle Shanahan, the most pre-snap motion. I'm curious for you as a linebacker, how do you stay away from kind of taking the eye candy and all that window dressing they do to kind of stay to your keys and not fall for all the motion and misdirection?
For me, it's understanding your defense. Depending on where you're at on the call, it might be your job to leverage the motion. It might be the motion might not affect you at all. just understanding, what your role is. And then throughout the week, you really want to go through film and make calls and adjustments and just get used to constantly seeing it. So, on Sundays, it's a lot easier. You more just anticipate, motion and what they do. So that's the one thing this week, I'm just take that approach of just kind of every play, just look forward to motion and expect it. So when it actually comes on Sunday, it'd be a lot smoother.
We'll take one more. Omar?
Wanted to ask you about the 49ers run game. This is one of those teams where they're committed to beating your head in, not yours in particular, but the defensive front. When you are facing an opponent who wants to basically destroy your will, what's that like as a player?
If you're a competitor, you take that as a challenge and you take that personal. You just want to go out there and really just compete. If you're a competitor, you know exactly what they're going to do. They do it every week. That's what they say. So Sunday, you got to take that personal. Are you basically going to let them do it or are you not? And Sunday, that's where you're going to find out.
Me, I like to think the past in the past. I'm here. I'm loving where I'm at, and it's life.
Joe?
Lynn, it's nice to meet you. Welcome to South Florida. What do you feel like you do best, man? I know you do a lot, but what do you feel like when you're on the field, your strengths?
Maybe just having the ball in my hand. I ain't too big of talking about myself. I like to let the game play, play for itself. So, but if I had to choose, just having the ball in my hand, probably.
Adam?
When the trade went down, obviously there was a report about some off the field issues, and you took to Twitter and said essentially it's not correct, it's not accurate. Could you set the record straight on some of the things that were written and why it may not be accurate?
People gonna talk the way they talk. Like I said, the past is the past. It's not something I'm thinking about. It's something I'm worried about. I'm in a better place, and just with myself. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm getting a shot to do what I love to do. And I'm just gonna keep going forward.
Omar?
Lynn, welcome to Miami, by the way. With you, obviously you've got a skill set to make people miss. Do you feel like that suits you well, particularly in the slot? And how much are you working at that position?
I'm just right now. I'm wherever coach need me. Whether that's offense, special teams. Right by him. I'm just doing whatever I need to do. Just to get out there and whatever coach got in store to me. I'm still learning. I'm a rook, so there's a lot of ways that I got to learn and follow behind. And that's what I'm gonna do with my head down.
Josh?
Yeah, Lynn, I wanted to ask, what's it like being in a room where there's another player, you guys kind of have some similar skill sets in terms of what they're asking you to do with Malcolm Perry? Both of you guys played a little bit quarterback in college, and both of you can move back and forth between running back and receiver, and that, in terms of what they're trying to have you do.
I think it's a plus side to that. Me and him, we just work together to better ourselves, better the whole team, and better our room, most importantly, our receiver room. And, we all compete every day. We come out to practice, we compete every day. We cheer each other on, and it's always positive vibes.
Hal?
Hi, Lynn. Welcome to Miami. I did want to go back to the time of the trade. Did they give you an explanation at any point as to why they traded you away? And the moment you found out, what were you doing and what was the thought you had? Because it's so unusual for someone drafted where you were to get traded so quickly. Was that any kind of feeling like, what did I do wrong?
It was, it's just, you got to put the past in the past. The NFL is a business, it's business first. Feelings come last. I learned that quick, fast, in a hurry, even before the trade. So it's nothing I can really do about it. I'm here. I'm in Miami. We making the best of it. We having fun. I feel like we just, as a team, like, we good right now. So
We got time for one more, Barry.
Thanks, Brett. Lynn, obviously Las Vegas was using you at running back, Dolphins using you at receiver. Do you feel your long-term NFL future is better at receiver than running back? And if so, why?
That's a good question. I ain't never thought about nothing like that. That's a good question right there. You repeat that to me one more time?
Sure. Vegas, of course, was using you at running back. Dolphins are using you at receiver. Do you feel like you have a better NFL future at receiver? Does it fit your skill set better?
Just having the ball in my hands, it fits. So wherever that is, that coach need me, you can look at the statistics of how long a running back lasts and how long a receiver lasts. You can look at that, but I feel like I'm just built to last wherever I need to play at, wherever coach need to play me at, and when my time comes, I'm gonna be ready.
This is strictly a result of the sun. This is all natural. I can guarantee that. But I do appreciate you guys noticing. The sun's been doing me some good.
So your hair gets blonder when you exposed to more sun.
Correct. That is correct. I also did get a haircut, so whole 180 going on over here.
Adam.
Yeah, the same phenomenon happens to me. I understand completely, Mike.
Absolutely.
On a completely unrelated note, Fitz is a starter week 5. When you heard the news, were you encouraged, surprised? What were your thoughts?
I wasn't surprised, when we made, Fitz the starter in week 1. Obviously you're expecting him to be the starter, throughout the entire season. So I'm happy to have him back there, and just got to keep rolling.
Stop it.
So you had 8 catches for 130 yards and the touchdown against the Bills. Fitz tells you to keep growing your facial hair after the game. You have 1 catch against the Jags and 1 catch against Seahawks last week. So, what are you telling Fitz about your beard and, you not getting the ball enough?
At a deeper dive, I don't know if there's a correlation,
Okay.
Initially we were going for the superstition. Didn't exactly turn out to be very super, so decided to move on from it,
Cam.
Hey, Mike, how is it like in the locker room? Obviously, you guys probably see on social what the talk is about Tua and quarterback situation. What's it like in the locker room seeing that type stuff and, just kind of everybody going on a whim on what they think?
It's really not talked about amongst the guys. Not to, just call it what it is. It's really more talked amongst, you guys, and just trying to, people are interested and all that kind of stuff. So it is what it is. But we're rolling with Fitz right now. So.
Josh.
Yeah, Mike, we just spoke to Lynn Bowden. Kind of want to ask about him, and we saw Chan and reveal the Wildcat once in the last game. What's it like as an offensive player to be able to have that in your back pocket and maybe keep the defense on your toes when you have players like him and a guy like Malcolm Perry and the like?
Yeah, we definitely got some guys that are super talented in terms of getting the ball in their hand in the Wildcat. Another guy I'd like to see back there in the Wildcat is probably Durham. I think, he would probably do some good things back there. Some little read option, maybe throw the ball a little bit. So, maybe we can work that in. But no, all joking aside, I would never do that with Durham. There's a lot of talented guys over back there in terms of Malcolm and Lynn and those kind of guys, and the coach is doing a good job putting them in position to be successful. So, when you're talented with the ball in your hand, you're going to be put in a position like that.
Joe?
I was going to ask you about Breida's strengths, Matt Breida, but did Smythe have more catches than you in the last game?
Yes, he did. I think it's a big strength of him. I think it's something that I was happy for him, and he made the most of his opportunities. So that's my guy.
What about Breida? What do you think he has the ability to do?
Yeah, Matt is really fast. So once you get the ball in his hands, and you can kind of create some openings for them and give them an opportunity to go out and make some plays. I think you're able to see that this past Sunday, whether it was hand the ball to them or some check downs and some guys trying to get some space blocks for him and get him down the field. So I think he did. I think he was another example of a guy just doing a good job making the most of his opportunities.
All right, last one, Safin.
Mike, the Fitzpatrick forward pass that got called back, that was obviously to you, and it probably could have been a moment where you get a catch and kind of get going there. Is it hard for you, or do you think it's hard for any of the other players on offense to get going when you guys are spreading the ball around so much to so many players?
No, I mean, I think that's just the name of the game. I think the other day, Devontae was hot, so you feed the hot hand, and he was another example of a guy that the ball's thrown him and he's making plays. So just keep going to him. So I think we got a bunch of talented guys on the offensive side of the football, whether it's at running back, tight end, receiver, quarterback, whatever it is. And whenever the ball does come your way, you got to make the most of your opportunities. I think that's something that I kind of harp on the most, just because you don't know when the opportunities are going to come. You don't know how many opportunities are going to present themselves. So you better be ready to make the most of them.